The two of them were feeling drained as they went down to the floor with the crane games and bought a couple of sodas from the vending machines. After the heat of the battle had cooled, they felt something like a come down, and the decrease in their energy levels was evident on their faces. Aw, why did I waste 1,000 yen on that dumb game? Itadori hung his head. Fushiguro looked at him like he was an utter fool. If you're satisfied now, let's get out of here. Game centers are good for passing time, but they'll also eat up your cash. That's for sure. Oh, hey! What? If you found another ridiculous game you want to play, I will not be joining you this time, Fushiguro said. No, that's not it. Look, Fushiguro, over there! Fushiguro narrowed his eyes and reluctantly turned in the direction Itadori was pointing. His eyes widened in surprise. Gojo-sensei? Yeah, that's him, Itadori said. Without a doubt, the person they were looking at was none other than Satoru Gojo. After all, who but Gojo would stroll around in the dim light of a game center wearing black clothes with a black blindfold over his eyes? Huh? Fushiguro, what is Gojo-sensei doing? He's playing a crane game, Fushiguro said, to win snacks. But why? He came to a game center alone to play crane games because he got the munchies? Hey, don't ask me, replied Fushiguro. How should I know? Oh, Itadori said. He gave up. That was fast. Pouting in dissatisfaction, Gojo swaggered toward the game center's exit. His behavior was hard to understand, but Gojo had always been hard to understand. Fushiguro decided not to think about it too much. Itadori had other ideas. Let's follow him, he said. And why would we do that? Itadori was making as if to dart out of the game center in pursuit of Gojo. In a rush, Fushiguro gulped down his soda, threw away the can, and followed. Think about it, Itadori said. Gojo-sensei is probably off today, right? And I don't know what he does on his days off or in his free time. So we follow him. You say that like it makes sense, Fushiguro said. Well, I'm curious. I know next to nothing about Gojo-sensei. Of course, if you don't want to, you can wait here alone. Fushiguro and Itadori ended up tailing Gojo. There was no doubt Gojo was a reliable teacher and a respectable sorcerer. To the students, however, he was also a man of many mysteries due to his nonchalance, busy demeanor, unpredictability, career, way of thinking, and scale of activity. He didn't seem like the kind to cheerily stroll about town on his days off. In other words, Fushiguro gave in to his curiosity too. Also, fighting Itadori in that dumb game may have left him mentally exhausted. In any case, they lost sight of Gojo and started looking for him again. Okay, y'all, that is section 3 of chapter 1, Summer of Ashes, Autumn of Dust. Chapter 1 is called Kyujitsu Kaisen. I know that in my first recording, I didn't exactly make that clear, and many of you maybe thought that I pronounced Jujutsu wrong. I promise that was not the case. Chapter 1 is actually called Kyujitsu Kaisen. And I want to talk a little bit about that word Kyujitsu because Gege went and got cool on us again. There's layers of meaning here. Kyujitsu, on the surface, obviously translates to like rest day or day off. That's what's going on here in our scene. We have Megumi and Itadori on a sorcerer's day off. Following Gojo around on Gojo's day off and what a day off means to a sorcerer. On another level, Kyujitsu is the martial art of archery. Now, Kamo is kind of in development right now, so that's not who I'm talking about. I'm talking about the guy who can beat a volcano at a firefight with an arrow. I think it's wildly interesting how something that means a day off, that means R&R, that means leisure, that translates to free time, can also encompass something as ambitious as Sukuna. This is also a fun little parallel to season 1 or the early chapters when the narrator tells us that he exists for his leisure alone. It's kind of cool to think about Sukuna being that guy that's always at recess, you know? Like, he became the greatest by playing at his own game. It makes you question what leisure and work are. If he's the king of curses, if he's the strongest, if he is the true, unbridled, unrestricted, honored one, then how is he always on a day off? What does that mean as far as the selfishness of our sorcerers go? In their development, obviously, the self is something that's very important. But how far do you indulge that self? Apparently, Sukuna went all the way to leisure time with it. I mean, if we want to call the arrow trick his maximum technique, or just even a primary technique that he uses to copy other techniques, cursed spirits don't know about it, so apparently only sorcerers would, meaning it's something that can be passed down. It's got history to it. I think there's something to be said in that if you can play your way into an honored one role, maybe Yuji is the perfect vessel for Sukuna. Because this dude, like Megumi said, this dude is a special grade dunce. He's a different kind of dumb. And I basically think that type of knuckle-headedness, regardless of whether it's in a ninja or a sorcerer, has value. If you are too stupid to stop, nothing's going to keep you from becoming a god of recess. Anyway, that's it. See y'all in section 4.